Welcome to Mania Talk, where I simply recap now the second night of WrestleMania 39. As I've already done the first night, you're going to have to bear with me here because unfortunately, at the WWE website, the matches aren't in order. So I'm going to have to start remembering which ones were night one that I've already covered versus night two. And remember that I may not necessarily skip over some stuff, but I may at times review something and be like, yeah, it was pretty decent. And then I just kind of move on. It's because I just don't always have something to add. Okay, this one I have something to add. I want people to know first and foremost as a reminder, and I'm sure you're aware of this. As a match goes on and you're winded, whether you have good cardio or not, and you weigh a lot as much as Brock Lesnar does, and certainly Omos, you need to understand just how much more difficult it is to suplex, pick up, to do an F5 the second time, the third time around. It takes an absolute amount of energy to do that. And I have to applaud Omos because he laid an ass whooping on Brock Lesnar. Like, he pretty much put him in his place. So although he lost the match, Omos left looking strong. He's a serious threat. He's not just a giant that's super tall and that's it, right? So that's how you make a match. You have it so that the beast incarnate that is Brock Lesnar, he's Brock Lesnar. Yeah, he's going to lose sometimes, but you know what? He won this one, and yet he still put Omos over in more ways than one. Those suplexes, and I got to give it to Omos for the sell too. When he lands back, you know that thing when Brock Lesnar does this suplex there, the suplex city, and you land on the back of your head and you do that extra roll so that it looks like the impact was a lot bigger than what it was, and you end up landing on your stomach from flipping back? Omos did that. He sold those perfectly. I mean, it looked legitimate, and that's the whole thing with selling the moves. He did a wonderful job, and when he failed on the first F5 and he went for the second one, I mean, yeah, is he going to spin him around like it's Rey Mysterio? No, but it looked good. I was really, really impressed with this. Again, Omos starts off strong. Look at me, but in the end, the beast, the Viking warrior, prevails. I don't think I would have changed anything. Really. I think this was good the way it was. I'm happy with the outcome. We've already done that. That was night one. Night one. This one. So, don't have too much to say about the women's showcase. However, I will say this big thing. I think overall, the match, the story inside of the ring, the moment to moment, I felt the women did a better job than the men. However, there were bigger moments in the men's one that I enjoyed more. Mainly because of, Montez and such, and Otis just being so funny and, okay? But yeah, and, Ronda Rousey, if you haven't figured it out yet, I really, really like Ronda Rousey. I really, really do. And I do kind of see her as the, I say the female Brock Lesnar, like she's her own. You know what I mean? I just mean in the sense of, what I mean by that is Brock Lesnar did it first. Legitimate wrestler, goes to UFC, legitimate champion, comes back, like it makes his name, Brock Lesnar, legitimate. Like he is a legitimate badass. She is legitimate. She started, as far as I know, in the UFC and transitioned over to WWE. And I think she did phenomenal when she first came, all her matches and stuff like that. Now, the booking may not always be the best, but her as a performer and learning to sell the moves and just wrestle, it's not UFC. You really can't actually tap these people out, right? And that can be a hard thing to do, to make it look like you're doing that. And anyhow, I'm just happy. Maybe not so much with how it happened, because she was outside of the ring and just kind of comes in. Wish they could have made her look a little bit stronger, but I don't think we need to do anything to make her look stronger. We know that she's a badass. So, yeah, like I said, overall, I think this match was better than the men's, though I think the men's had one or two couple of extra more special moments, but the rest, to be honest, with the men's, to recap on it quickly, I felt it was harder to follow, to be honest. I felt this was, a little bit smoother transitioning. I would have loved nothing more to have had Sheamus win the match. But you know something? Gunther retaining doesn't actually upset me. It's, again, anytime I say this, anytime, you have to understand when I attack or something, it's always the character, not the actual person. Unless it's Ryback. Fuck yourself. I hate that piece of shit. In real life. This is like hard to explain, but I felt like all three equally just... Drew McIntyre was in the match, by the way. We just don't see him in the screenshot provided to us by WWE. It's just unbelievable. But in many ways, and this may come across as an insult first, but I was actually surprised with Gunther that he did as well as he did. From a cardiovascularity standpoint, I mean, look at his Royal Rumble performance, okay? And when you compare him to Sheamus and you compare him to Drew McIntyre, and again, this is not like shaming, it's just calling a spade a spade. He's a smaller individual, but that doesn't always necessarily mean weaker. If you heard the chops, it was a chop fest, wasn't it, at that three-way Intercontinental match. Gunther's chops were louder than Drew's and Sheamus's, okay? Sheamus's and Drew's biceps might be 1.5 times the size or whatever. But Gunther, man, he could, oh my God, and you could see like all the red on everybody's chest. That's why when people say, oh, wrestling is fake, no, I don't think you get it. I don't think you get it. I mean, you do. I'm saying some people. It might be scripted, but the slaps, the kicks, the punches, like, they don't have a sound effects machine, oh, we're going to punch him, we're going to kick him, okay, hit the button to make it sound like a hard slap. It's the real deal. And just the constant picking up Sheamus and then Drew McIntyre powerbombing him on top of the other. I forget which one he powerbombed. I think he powerbombed Sheamus on top of Drew McIntyre, or was it the other way around? Again, as time goes on, your cardio gets harder and harder to pick people up. I'm not gonna lie. I know Gunther is an amazing performer, an amazing wrestler, okay? This match made me somehow like him more than I already did to begin with. I am so impressed with Gunther's performance that it actually made me okay with him retaining. Does that make any sense? Because, he's supposed to be the heel, and, oh, Sheamus and Drew, they're my peeps. They're the people I wanted to win, especially Sheamus. But like I said, the whole thing just unraveled in a way I wasn't expecting. I was like, wow, this guy's holding his own in there, and then some. I was like, yeah, you know what? You can keep the title for a bit longer and just kind of drag out this whole thing with Sheamus trying to chase the elusive title. So to me, so far, this, like, as I'm reviewing this is by far one of the best matches, I think, of the entire WrestleMania. I think it would be hard to argue that. Just blown away, really, with all of their performances. But again, I'm not, when I say I'm not impressed, I'm not, oh wow, with Sheamus and Drew, because I expected that level. Does that make, okay? I expected that level. Again, with Gunther, didn't quite think he could be literally at the other two's level, and he abso-freaking-lutely is. I'm so proud of all of them, really. That was night one. This was a great match. This was really nice, and I'm so happy that Bianca retained. I mean, let's be real. I would have been happy you know, if Asuka, I always mispronounce her name, get over it, would have won, I don't think it would have bothered me as much as like if Charlotte would have retained, even though I love Charlotte. Oh my God, I love Charlotte. But I'm glad she lost. I know it's like, oh, I love you, but, I'm glad you lost. It was Rhea, man. Anyways, I've already covered that match. This was great, just back and forth, just solid wrestling. And again, this was a prime example of why I'm so happy that in recent years, I know I keep going on about this, that they just allow women to just wrestle and not just be a sex prop. And I think the reason I keep going on about that too is because Dutch Mantel said something that I completely agree with. Don't forget, we just had the Hall of Fame, and one of the biggest names in there, arguably, like of people that you would remember that was actually like in WWE apart from Rey Mysterio, was Stacy Keibler. And with all due respect, I'm sure she's a wonderful person and all this. She was in there for her looks. Couldn't really wrestle, couldn't really cut a promo or do much. Doesn't mean she's a bad person. I'm not saying I could have done any better. But I told you, on this channel, whether it's video games or critiquing anything, I am not sugarcoating nothing. I don't want any diabetes on the channel. To me, Stacy Keibler, as wonderful of a person as I sure she am, probably, most definitely, one of the worst Hall of Famers ever. Plain and simple. I can absolutely see these two being future Hall of Famers. This is like amazing. They look good. I love their outfits. And they can wrestle. Okay? Like, anyways. So yeah, this was just a great match, and it ended the way it did, and I'm quite happy with that. That was night one. Night one. Ah, yes. So Finn Balor's Demon. We haven't seen that in a while. He's only ever actually lost once in NXT as the Demon, and that was to Samoa Joe. But the last couple matches that he had as Demon in on the main card, like Raw, SmackDown, it's actually lost both matches. I think one of them was actually to Roman Reigns. Then he lost this one because Edge won. This could have gone either way, and I would have been happy, but I'm glad Edge won, because, no offense, he's probably got less longevity left in the tank. Kind of give him a final hurrah. It probably might be his last WrestleMania. Maybe. He's in wicked shape. He's recovered well from, the injuries and all that he's sustained, and it's just been great. This was nice. No interruptions. Pure, typical Hell in the Cell, and it just ended with that chair shot right at the back of the head. Never mind the spear and all that. It was just that last thump to putting the Demon down, and I just loved it. I loved Finn's attire. Just a constant back and forth. Remember that moment with the ladder? The EMTs came in. If you watched a replay again, that ain't some fake shit. He took that right in the head. That could have knocked your ass out. This is probably, of the entire WrestleMania, this maybe, apart from the Chop Fest and the Intercontinental match, this is probably one of the most brutal in terms of actually taking some serious bumps. It could have been incredibly dangerous for Edge, again, as I've mentioned, because of his past injuries with the concussions in his neck, I believe. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember everybody's, Cody's was the pectoral, Austin had the fused neck from the Owen Hart pile driver 97 or something like that. Like, it's hard for me to remember every single thing. And then Bret Hart suffering the kick from Goldberg, which is why they have the animosities towards each other. But anyhow, this was just beautiful. Just beautiful. One of my favorite matches. They're also two of my favorite people. Maybe I'm a little bit biased there. It's going to be interesting to see the future now. Rhea's champ, that whole Judgment Day thing. I do like it. I'm not, sick of it, but I am very curious now that we're done with Rey at WrestleMania. This here, he put him to rest. just kind of like where's the direction going to go moving forward now? What are going to be the new stories with the Judgment Day? Is Edge going to stick around for a while? Is he going to be a part-timer? Is he going to fully retire? He kind of said the last time, you know what, I'm going to be around for as long as, I feel good or whatever. And so far, I want to emphasize, because I was kind of critiquing Lita a little bit, and, it's not an insult. Sometimes people that are gone for a while, and as you get older, sometimes performers of any sport can't perform at the same level. Edge is performing like it's 2004. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, that's just insane. He hasn't slowed down. He's arguably in better shape than he's actually ever been in. And that just shows the dedication and how serious this is to him. And I'm just blown away. Like, never forget that. Like, this guy is not young. He's not a senior citizen, but he's getting up there. And it's just so impressive. Like, you're not going to get a lot more out of Edge, unfortunately. I hope we do. But yeah, this was just a thing of beauty. It was just great. That's really all I have to say. It was just great. I've already talked about that. Two of my favorite female superstars of all time. Absolutely. But that was night one. Yes, I know. It looks like I'm skipping over. Because I want to make sure. Yeah, that Pat Mac. Yeah, that was night. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the... See, they're repeating it again. My goodness, WWE. You're screwing me up. I hope I didn't miss any matches here. Apart from the, the main event. So, yeah, let's talk about that. There's two ways of looking at it. There's the knee-jerk reaction. I'm pissed off. What was with that build-up? Kissing his wife in the beginning. The kid. I mean, you could see it right there. Right? Remember I can't really play this or I'm going to get a copyright strike there. But, you have that heartfelt moment. I think it was the mother, this kid, his wife, Brandy, right there in the blue jersey or sweater. And then he gave the belt to, that's Luke Harper's son. Yeah. They're tugging on your heartstrings. And then they give you the finale that we didn't really want. Kind of like what happened with Sami Zayn in Montreal. Like Sami Zayn in Montreal, that was the place to do it. And I still look back on that as that would have been a proper time to have Sami Zayn, start cracking apart the bloodline. But now they got the tag team championship, the Usos, so fine. They got something out of that. Throw Kevin in there as the tag team partner. Fine. I'm equally as happy because he's arguably got more gold now with Sami Zayn. He's got two belts, right? The blue and the red, the Coke and the Pepsi belts. But with Cody, that whole buildup, he was gone for 9 months, pectoral tear. His last gimmick didn't work out, even though Stardust was a character that he created, and even said, if I come back, I do not want Stardust to come back. He is dead in the water, because they kept pushing it on him, which is why he asked for his release. He was gone from WWE for 6 years? I'm not reading off a script here. Some of my numbers and shit can be off at times. Reinvented himself, really showed the WWE what he's capable of, because the WWE doesn't always allow you to showcase yourself, right? And even though he had all these gimmicks, terrible gimmicks, they were basically giving him the Zack Ryder treatment. Not that Zack Ryder had a terrible gimmick. I just mean run people that are underutilized, underappreciated, I truly feel. And when Cody Rhodes came back, I had followed him in AEW and all that stuff, but I just mean, in general, I've always been a huge, huge fan of Cody Rhodes. Always have been, no matter how stupid the gimmick. And kind of knowing he was never really ever be a main event star, even though I felt he deserved it. When they gave him a little more and they allowed him to showcase who he was, WWE, they're tight asses. The fact that they allowed him to bring his gimmick, his entrance music, the whole thing, they just let him come in with it, speaks volumes on WWE's behalf, and maybe AEW's. I don't know who trademarked his whole thing and, whatever. And then the neck tattoo with Cody Rhodes. Vince had an interview with Cody and they were like, we got some of the best for the logos. We can do this. That was a terrible Vince impression. It wasn't supposed to be an impression. But you said, we can design logos for you. And he's like, take a look at this, my neck tattoo. Damn. Which, by the way, Cody Rhodes did not expect was going to be as big as it was when he got it done on his neck. Kind of went, yeah, so it's like twice as big as it was supposed to be in his eyes. So it's a little fun fact there. And now that became his logo. And the fact that Vince of all people, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, allowed Cody to do his thing with that, the gimmick, the icons and all that stuff, was just great on Vince's part, and the fact that Triple H was on board. But now we can potentially shit on them for that ending. This whole build-up, comes back, wins the Royal Rumble, do what I thought catching up to speed for 3 months from January to April. January, February, March. Yeah, 3 months. Remember, I dropped out of school pretty early. A wonderful build-up. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of history, because a lot of people will think, with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, there was way more history. That build-up went for a lot longer than what Cody had. But Cody's was legitimate. Like when they just threw in Omos and Brock Lesnar, just to kind of go back to that, there wasn't much of a story or build-up to that. That was actually really shit. The only thing that made that match amazing was the fact that it was some big behemoth, 7'3", 418-pound Nigerian giant, and Brock Lesnar was able to maneuver that dude around like you shouldn't be able to. That's what ended up being the story. Them coming together was an afterthought that was pointless. This actually had a lot of history. There's history between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes' father, Dusty. Like there was more than just, I won, you got the belt, and I'm coming for you. Like there was actual shit there. But maybe, just maybe, that buildup wasn't enough. It hasn't solidified itself enough. So I can be angry and disappointed in the booking. Obviously, I'm not angry at Roman Reigns, the actual person, the character. But maybe it's just not quite his time yet. There's SummerSlam, but then we can argue, yeah, but WrestleMania is the number one show PLE event of the year for WWE. This was the place to do it. But was it too soon yet to actually have Cody? Sorry, my phone's going berserk here. Was it too soon? And I'm not going to lie. Looking at the other side of things, maybe it was a little too soon. Maybe we're still going to get that moment that we want, just not right away. But I truly believe that he is set to be that future champion. All I know is they got to get rid of the double belt bullshit thing. I know I keep going on about that every time we're talking about the titles. They really, really got to get rid of that shit. I don't care if you're on the side of you only want one belt between Raw and SmackDown, or you're on kind of like my side, maybe, where you have one per show. Like before, the red Universal belt, the blue Universal belt, whatever. Either which way, I am tired of seeing somebody have those belts for so long. Like Roman Reigns has actually been double champ. Never mind just champ in general now, hitting on 1,000 days. He's at like 950 something. Whatever. Let's not get too technical. He's approaching quickly 1,000 days as champion, but not as double champ. Remember, he defeated, I hope I don't get this wrong, because I'm not reading off a script here. Was it not WrestleMania 38? That Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar for the second title, for the black one, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's okay. I can make mistakes. I am human after all. It's just too long. Too long. Not as champ, And he's not technically being hailed a double champ. But they might as well be. Anyways, it really bugs me. It really, really bugs me. They could have even had Roman Reigns get dethroned for the black belt, and Roman Reigns could have kept his blue belt, and it still would have kept on his streak. Because remember, his streak isn't as having the 2 belts. But I don't know the whole thing with the belts. I don't know what's going on there. It's the same thing with the tag belts, the Usos there. Several hundred days. I don't remember how many days it was. Was it 400 and something? Was it? I can't remember now. Too much math. For the double belts again. But that made a little bit more sense, and I touched on that yesterday. It's because the tag team division is just not that strong to actually have a champion on each side, is from what I had discovered, what I had been reading into. Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard for me to comment on this if I don't know what their future vision is. But it's been over a year that Roman's had both belts now. And it's his 4th WrestleMania in a row now that he's got a belt or something like that. Yeah, it's just crazy. Again, the length of the reign of a title reign isn't so much the issue. It's having both of them. If you're just going to have one, then get rid of one or something. Just, it's really starting to piss me off, to be honest. I think it's mainly because I just don't understand. That's what I don't get. I get we unified it, but why did you do it? Where's the new 1 belt? Like, make up your mind, decide what you want to do, and move forward with that. What are we at here? Are you seriously kidding me? Well, yesterday's video was 22 minutes with my rambling. This one's at 26. I'm wrapping it up. Wrapping it up. Like a Trojan condom. Yeah, so that's that. That's my thoughts on it. Overall, like anything, I can be very critical of anything. But I did enjoy myself. This wasn't like a complete loss for me of a WrestleMania. There's certainly been worse WrestleManias, I believe. And yeah, I just am very anxious to see what's going to happen now going forward with the whole bloodline thing. Now that the Usos lost, what's Roman going to say about that? Solo Sikoa really helped out. Roman retain. Is he going to bump him up? Somebody going to turn on Roman? There's eventually going to have to be some kind of dissension, some kind of end. Nothing lasts forever. Same thing with the Judgment Day. And yeah. So Sammy got the taste of the gold, and rightfully so. Is Cody going to get the taste of the gold? Because he absolutely, in my eyes, deserves to be main event caliber champion. Not just, and I know this is going to sound bad, because look at Gunther. Oh my God, has he made that Intercontinental belt like not just a whatever, a throwaway belt. But obviously the one Roman Reigns has is more prestigious. And I truly believe that Cody Rhodes is on that level. I think he's paid his dues and then some. He's overpaid. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what the fuck's gonna happen with those belts. Maybe somebody can chime in down below, because every time I Google it, I can't really find a clear answer to a vision as to the direction of where it's going. And it's making my OCD go nuts, for real. That's enough for me. As always, if you liked the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. It does greatly help support the channel. And if you didn't like it, well, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, and I'll bend it in half and twist it and rick it off in your ass. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, I mean, naturally, that would be great now, wouldn't it? But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. And maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Yeah, so I was right. It was Gunther that powerbombed Sheamus on top of Drew McIntyre there. Anyhow. Ah, man. What a night. Until next time, bye for now.